Hey y'all, today is September the 18th. It is Tuesday evening. Today has been an extremely long day. This morning I had an ultrasound and I go in for the ultrasound and the lady puts the probe on my stomach and she says, "Oh, you're about 5 weeks." And I was like, "No, um, I'm like 7 weeks and 5 days." And she says, "No, I think you're wrong, honey. I think your days are wrong. Um, just from the looks of this, I haven't done any measurements. I'd say you're about 5 weeks." And I was like, "Oh gosh." It's like, so everything starts going through my brain. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, there's something wrong." Anyway, and so she says, "Let me measure the baby, and I'll see what the baby's measuring." So the baby was measuring 7 weeks and 4 days, which was only 1 day below what I thought. But the gestational sac for the baby was only measuring 5 weeks and 6 days. So she stops the ultrasound and she says, "I want you to go ahead and go over to your OB." This was an outside facility, like outside of my OB's office. Kind of like if your hospital has an outpatient center that does things like this, this is what it was. So, I'm like, "Okay." And she's like, "I need you to take these pictures, go to your OB, tell them I saw a heartbeat, tell them I'm going to write the measurements on here." So this is the ultrasound that she gives me. Um, let's see. The top here is the heartbeat, and then the bottom one here was just the picture that they gave me. So, um, anyway, so this was the first time we saw the baby. So Wayne couldn't go with me. He had to go back to work. So I called the OB's office and I said, "Listen, this is what they just told me. What do you want me to do?" She's like, "Go ahead and come in, bring those pictures with you, and we'll go from there." So I get there and I'm the only person there, and Dr. Long's like, "Yeah, I want you to go ahead and go over to um, this other place and they're going to do a transvaginal ultrasound because this was just a normal belly ultrasound." He said, "I want them to do a vaginal ultrasound, and I just want to make sure that everything's okay." So I'm like, "Oh my gosh, like is something, really wrong?" I mean, I've heard that you can have a smaller gestational sac and everything will be okay. You know, I was just concerned that the lady like wouldn't even finish the ultrasound, like wouldn't show me anything else. She just said, which I know it's early, there's not much to look at, but she just said, "Go ahead and go." So I go there and pay for another ultrasound, and she says, starts asking me questions and things like that. So she starts the ultrasound, and she's immediately to me, the from the from the vaginal standpoint, the sac looked bigger that way. And that older ultrasound, I mean, it was so tiny, like it felt like the baby took up all of the space. Like it didn't have any, you couldn't see fluid between the baby and the sac. That to me, width-wise, you couldn't see fluid, but length-wise, you could see fluid here. So, but with this, I felt like I could see fluid all the way around. So I was already okay. Like as soon as I saw that, and then she showed me the heartbeat and she wanted to take some measurements. So she measured my uterus. She looked at my cervix. She went and looked at my ovaries and like here's my uterus, like however it's supposed to look, and my right ovary is where it's supposed to be, but my left ovary is like way lower than so she was telling me, she's like, it's common for your ovaries to be like not in the same spot, but anyway, and so she showed me that, and really I'm like, "Just tell me everything's okay." She's like, "Well, let me start my measurements." So she starts with the baby, and her measurement was the same, 7 weeks, 4 days for the baby. And she said, "I'm going to get you to like tilt your hips up, and I'm going to measure." And for the vaginal ultrasound, she made me empty my bladder. So I had to be completely, have no urine. So she makes me tilt my hips up, and she starts to measure my gestational sac. And it was, for her, it was measuring 7 weeks. Now, she says that anywhere between a week's difference is completely normal, but that lady's first measurement, if that would have been correct, that would have not been normal. So she did it like 3 or 4 times, with me in different positions, and that was what she got every time, was 7 weeks. So when she put that measurement with the baby's measurement, it still put me at 7 weeks and 4 days, which is only 1 day behind my ovulation calculation of 7 weeks and 5 days. So I was perfectly happy with that. She seemed perfectly happy with that. She said, I don't see any problems. She did the little blood flow thing, and she said, everything looks wonderful. The baby looks wonderful. The heart rate was 157, so everything looks really good. Here is the second ultrasound that I had. I'm going to try to, if I can see, because this is like totally opposite. Oh gosh, let me see if I can get really close without the TV glaring. Okay, let's see. This right, gosh, I'm not going to be able to do it. This right here at the top is umbilical cord. Head is right here, and then body, and then you can see around the bottom, you can see like the little tail where the feet are going to be. And this is pretty much the same image, just a little different. I was surprised. She said normally I don't give a picture because normally at this age you can't really see much, but she said you could see the general shape, and she could see a brain, and she could see a spine forming. She really did a lot. Like she did a lot of measuring, and so I was really excited with that. But anyway, so she said she was going to let the radiologist read the ultrasound, and that they would contact me this afternoon. Well, they would contact my OB, and then my OB would contact me this afternoon. And they did, and they said that everything looks perfect, that they're glad I went in, and they just felt like the other facility should have, from the get-go, should have done a vaginal ultrasound instead of one over the tummy. So all that scared, missing half a day of work, panic for nothing. The baby is fine. Baby's measuring right on track. Looked wonderful, and all around it was a great ultrasound. I loved getting to see the baby this early on. I've never had an ultrasound this soon. So anyways, I just wanted to do a little update. It was, Facebook, I was kind of, I posted an initial picture and said everything looks wonderful, because I didn't want to freak anybody out, but then, I was like, no, I'm going to say that I'm going to have another one, and so I'm sorry if I caused anyone to feel anxious or like something was seriously wrong, because I didn't know. I didn't know. Anyways, guys, I am full. My husband just made grilled cheese sandwiches and tomato soup for dinner, and it was wonderful. And I'm actually ready for bed. It's like 7:10, and if I could go to sleep right now, I would. But Eden is at dance, and she doesn't get done until 8. And then tomorrow is her birthday, so I'm going to make cupcakes for her class. So I still have a lot to do, but I could totally go to bed right now and go to sleep. This pregnancy is kicking my butt. But Thursday, I am going to do a 7-week pregnancy vlog, so stay tuned for that, and I will see you guys for 7 weeks. Bye!